putting pernicious pharmaceuticals into the market. But nobody wanted Tamiflu. I mean, nobody really saw any need for it. So the bird flu fear campaign was created.
Yeah.
And of course, Gilead, via Roche, who had the marketing rights to Tamiflu, Rumsfeld was even able to persuade Tony Blair to spend £14 million on buying a stock of Tamiflu. And then we come on to things like Ritalin, which of course is this terrible drug. I mean, it's like cocaine.
Yeah.
It's a stimulant that seems to have the opposite effect on youth. And, right now, I mean, you've got a situation where 10% of all children under the age of 16 are prescribed Ritalin in the US.
Yep.
And the British government in 2007 spent £28 million on Ritalin. I mean, this is the pharmaceutical industry effectively driving, an agenda, an apparent political agenda, which of course benefits that industry.
It's a kind of a full spectrum dominance, as it is referred to. It's about
absolutely full spectrum dominance, as referred to in the PNAC document, Rebuilding America's Defenses.
Is that so? I did not know that. That's
yes,
interesting.
It is, absolutely. and of course, that particular document, which was published in September of 2000, which is the blueprint. I mean, it's the blueprint for everything that has effectively occurred since.
Yeah.
But yeah, in that document, they actually make the reference to full spectrum dominance and list everything that entails: the control of space, of hyperspace, food. I mean, it's if you read that document without actually knowing who wrote it, you would either think it was written by sort of H.G. Wells on acid, or a psychopath.
Yeah.
And of course, when you actually turn to the back page and you look at the 27 people that have put their signatures to it, you actually realise it was written by 27 psychopaths. and 10 of whom were appointed to George Bush's government the moment he was sworn in on January of 2001.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's no conspiracy here. Come on.
It's not a conspiracy. It's fact.
It's incredible.
I mean, this is the point I make in my talks. I don't. I try and avoid as much as possible any conjecture. The dots that I link together are all based on fact.
Right.
But the information is out there, and I absolutely understand that the vast majority of people, of course, they don't have the time, even if they have the inclination, they don't have the time to do this kind of research.
Of course,
it just so happens that for the last nearly 10 years, I've had the luxury of being able to focus my energies on this research. And, now, of course, I try and not tell people, because you can't tell people the truth. All you can do is sow seeds and encourage people. In fact, I always say in my talks, I'd be mortified if anybody took anything that I say as gospel. All I'm trying to do is encourage people to actually take a look at this for themselves, because it's only when they look at it for themselves, it's only when they join the dots for themselves that they'll realise that actually somebody is taking the piss out of the human race.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's why it's important also with supporting the work that you do. And I mean, you have the DVDs now out there, and this is a good way to kind of distill, if you will, the information, always kind of refining it to the most important high notes and key points to all of this, because as you say, people don't have much of the time, but within a lecture that you're doing in one of your DVDs, you really get to the heart of the matter, and then people can pick up on the keywords, do searches for themselves, and they're off on a incredible journey, as it were, on research, if they have the time and if they have the interest, of course.
Exactly. And I think the other point we have to make, Henrik, is that what is natural is when people sort of realise this for the first time. That there is a sort of stage that they may go through, which is one of fear. But, we just have to recognise that, that is just an initial reaction. Because, once you step through the fear, you have to ask yourself, okay, you now know, you've actually seen a completely different side of government than, you had before. But would you rather not know?
Yeah.
And not be able to do anything about it at all. But now you know, you actually have a choice. And that choice is to say, well, actually, I'm going to bury my head in the sand, because I actually rather not know, so I'm just going to carry on my life as though I never really found out anything about this at all. And then, of course, you just have to accept the consequences of whatever comes about. Mm. But I fundamentally believe that these guys are doing us a massive favor. They're getting very, very arrogant. They're becoming more obvious in their excesses. And they know that there's many of us who are becoming aware of their outrageous agenda. And their arrogance is such that, they're taking the line that, well, we know there's somebody out there who know what we're doing, but it's not enough. And we can do this stuff with impunity. And I believe that our challenge, and, fortunately, we are an increasing number of people who are now, doing this kind of investigative work, who are getting our message out there, either, like you guys, through radio, through me, like me, through, DVDs and invitations like this to share with you over the radio. But there's a number of people writing books as well is another one, of course. There's a number of people who all got different skills, and they're all, really contributing to the task, getting this information out for people to see for themselves. And it's not going to change things overnight. And I don't know, when things, will change. But the seeds that we're sowing today, I believe, will come to fruition when these guys least expect.
Very encouraging, and a very, this is one of the interesting points that I do want to touch upon later on as well as we dive into more about the New World Order. But in the last 8 or so remaining minutes that we have in this segment, I want to touch upon a few more things in regards to Codex here. And the first thing is, I want to talk about what I call the Codex lady. There is one video that has been going around on Google that's called Nutricide, and this is
Rima Labo.
Exactly. And tell us a little bit about her and what you found out so far about her. That's interesting.
Yeah, she is a very interesting lady. Now, for many people, the first information that they find out about Codex is via either the Google or YouTube videos of Rima, or some of the things that she's posted on the web. And much of what she puts out is, not far from being accurate. But it is my opinion that she is controlled opposition. Now, why do I say that, and what's the point of controlled opposition? Well, first and foremost, I've already given an indication as to how much money is at stake in terms of the pharmaceutical industry and big pharma with an F, the likes of Monsanto and Cargill. These are multi-billion-dollar industries, and they are looking to establish global domination. So, we're not sort of pussyfooting around here. Now, the genuine players who are trying to, if you like, contain the excesses of the Codex Alimentarius Commission are the likes of the National Health Federation, which is led by a guy called Scott Tips, who actually has compiled one of the most authoritative books on Codex, and it's called Codex Alimentarius, Global Food Imperialism. And in Europe, that's only available via my website, which is www.ianrcrane.co.uk. So Codex Alimentarius, Global Food Imperialism, written or compiled by Scott Tips. Now, Scott works with two other people. He works with a guy called Paul Anthony Taylor, who is the external marketing director with the Dr. Rath Foundation. And he also works with the chief executive of the Alliance for Natural Health, a guy called Dr. Robert Verkerk. Now, Dr. Robert Verkerk is a really exceptional guy, and he is the scientific advisor to the National Health Federation in their challenges to Codex. Now, Paul Anthony Taylor, who is employed by the Dr. Rath Foundation, he doesn't need anybody's money because he's financed by the Dr. Rath organization. But the National Health Federation in the US and the Alliance for Natural Health in Europe are effectively charities. I mean, they are totally reliant on donations, either from companies who will be affected by Codex or from private individuals. And their money, the money that obviously they're able to pull in, goes directly to addressing the abuse of the Codex Alimentarius Commission. Mm-hmm. Rima Labo presents herself as a campaigner, but actually she has zero impact. She has no authority. She has no representation on any of the the Codex committees, unlike Scott Tips and Robert Verkerk, who are an NGO